All right, so today we're doing depreciation. And what is depreciation? Depreciation is the value of an object going down every year, right? So most people own assets like a car, your phone, computer, and these values depreciate every year based on a percentage, right? So the depreciation is equal to the initial cost of the item or object, or the principal cost, minus the amount that it is worth, right? At the time of selling or whatever, right? To calculate the amount that the item is worth, right? We use a similar formula, which is the principal 1 minus the rate over 100, the n, where n is the number of years, right? So P is the principal value or the initial cost, right? R is the rate of depreciation, and N is the number of years that the item depreciates. Wouldn't fit there. Let me put it on the right? So depreciation is the initial cost minus the amount that it is worth after a number of years, right? And this formula here, the amount it's worth, so this is one formula I remember, and this is another one you have to remember. Right, for example one.
I see that.
A Mazda 323 car bought in January 1986 for 270,000, right? So that's the principal value of the car or the initial value of the car. So $270,000. An insurance company decides to calculate depreciation per annum at 5%. So the depreciation or the rate of depreciation is 5% per annum or per year, right? Determine the value of the car after 3 years. So the formula, right, is the value of the car or the amount that it is worth is equal to the principal amount, open bracket, 1 minus the rate over 100, the n number of years, right? So in this case, n will be 3 years. So we're going to follow it up. So the amount is equal 270,000, 1 minus the rate, which is 5% over 100, and n is 3 years. Right? Now, if we remember how to change decimals to, sorry, fractions to decimals, you would understand that 5 over 100 is the same as 0.05. And one takeaway that will give us 0.95 to the power 3. So we could use our calculators to work it out. Let me get my calculator to come up. Pause this video. All right, so the calculator came out finally. 270,000 multiplied by, open your bracket, 0.95 to the power 3. So after 3 years, the car would have been worth $231,491.25. Now, part B, the depreciated amount. So how much money we lost based on the value of the car now, right? So, so the depreciation amount is the principal amount minus the amount that it is worth, right? So 270,000 minus $231,491.25. Again, we'll look at on the calculator. 270,000 subtract 231, 1 cent and 25 cents, right? So over the 3 years, the car depreciated $38,508.75. Right, so example 2. The computer costing $20,000 depreciates 4 years per annum. Calculate after 3 years the value of the computer. So again, the principal is 20,000. The rate of depreciation is 4%, and the time is 3 years. Now, anytime they give you time in months, you have to convert it into years, just for you to remember that, right? So again, the formula is the amount that it will worth after time, is the principal amount, multiplied by 1 minus the rate over 100 to the number of years as the power. So 20,000 by 1 minus the rate, which is 4% over 100, to the number of years, which is 3. Right? So again, you can either use your calculator, or you could work it in steps. If you're working it in steps, you'll have to work the bracket first, 1 minus 4 over 100, and remember 4 over 100 will be 0.04. So 1 minus this should give us 0.96 to the power 3 in bracket. So 20,000 multiplied by 0.96, and this is to the power. We have to put the power 3, closing our bracket for the power, and then closing the bracket for the bracket itself, equal $17,694.72. So this is how much a computer will be worth after 3 years. Now, what is the depreciated amount? So this is A, B. The depreciated amount is the principal minus the amount that it is worth now. So 20,000 minus $17,694.72. So 20,000 minus 17,694.42. I made a mistake. 694.72. So the computer would have depreciated $2,305.28 over the 3 years. So example 3, a motorbike costing $58,000 depreciates at 8% per annum. Calculate after 3 years the value of the motorbike and the depreciated amount. Right, so the principal amount is $58,000 The rate of depreciation is 8%, and the time is 3 years. So the amount that it is worth after 3 years will be the principal by 1 minus the rate over 100, the n number of years. So 58,000 by 1 minus 8% over 100 to the power 3, and again 8 over 100 is 0.08, and 1 minus 0.08 will be 0.92 to the power 3. So we could do it as you see it in the question, 58,000, open bracket, 0.92 to the power 3, close the bracket, equal. So it will be worth $45,163. And remember, it's money we're dealing with, so you cannot have 3 decimal places, so you round off to 2 decimal places. And part B, the depreciated amount is the principal amount minus the amount it is worth. Minus $45,163.90. So 58,000 minus $45,163.90. Right. So $12,836, and this is 10 cents. Right, so example 4. The table below gives information on the values and the rates of depreciation in the value of 2 motor vehicles. Something wrong with the English there, but let's move forward. So the motor vehicle, one is a taxi, one is a private car. The initial value or the principal amount, one is 40,000, one is 25,000. They give you the rate of depreciation for the taxi, but not the private car. And they give you the value after 1 year for the private car, but not the taxi. So they want us to calculate the values of P and Q. All right, so let's look at it like this. So we know the formula, right? Is the amount, is the principal, 1 minus the rate over 100 to the power n. So you will get for the taxi first. So the amount for the taxi, right? Right. So the amount that it will depreciate for the after the 1 year, or the amount, sorry, that will be valued after 1 year. The amount for the taxi will be the principal amount, which is 40,000, multiplied by 1 minus 12 over 100, and is 1 year. So it's 40,000. Now 12 over 100 is 0.12. So you get 0.88 to the power 1. This power 1, you don't need to write it because it's understood. Anything to the power 1 is itself, but if you write it, it's not a problem. So just multiply 40,000 by 0.88. So after 1 year, the taxi will be worth $35,200. Now, the private car, they gave us the initial value and the amount it will be worth, and want us to find the rate. So again, if they give us the initial value, right, the initial value and the amount it is worth. So the amount that it is worth, based on the formula, is equal the principal amount, 1 minus the rate over 100 to the power 1. Let me just bring this a little more to the left, a little bit too far. Right? So now we want to solve for R. We know the bracket is root itself because it's to the power 1. So what we're going to do is divide by the coefficient amount, which is 25,000, sorry. And if you divide on the right of the equal sign, you must divide on the right. So this 2500 will cancel with this 2500. And the bracket will remain as 1 minus the rate over 100. Let's get a decimal value for this. So we could use the calculator. 21250 divided by 25000. So we get 0.85. Now again, we want to solve for R. In order to solve for R, we need to move the 1. We carry it across the equal sign becomes negative. So 0.85 subtract 1 is equal to negative R over 100. Right? So we're going to subtract 1 and you'll get 0.15. Negative 0.15 is equal to negative R over 100. So what I want to do now is multiply by the 100, but I'll multiply by negative 100 to get rid of the sign. So I'll multiply by a negative 100 here as well. So this 100 will cancel this 100, and this sign, the negative sign, will cancel this negative sign to remain the R or the rate. And because you're multiplying a negative by a negative, our answer will be positive. Multiply by 100, so you move the decimal place 2 times to get 15. So the rate is 15 or 15%. So this is the thing there. Part B, the value of the taxi after 2 years. So they want us to find the value of the taxi after 2 years. So the amount the taxi will be worth after 2 years is the principal 1 minus the rate over 100 n. So the principal amount of the taxi was 40,000. The depreciation rate was 12%. And now the time is 2 years. So we 40,000 by 0.88. So this part didn't change, it's only the power 2 change. So 40,000 multiplied by 0.88 to the power 2, those are brackets. And after 2 years, the taxi will be worth $30,976.